Hi there. We had a whole other video. We may make it, we don't know. But we just need to pause and talk about another untimely death.
Again. Here we go again, guys. So you may remember our last video, we talked about Jordan Edwards and his untimely death. Just to recap for folks, Jordan Edwards is the young 15-year-old who was in the car with his brothers and friend and driving away from a house party and was shot by a police officer.
With a rifle.
With a rifle.
So not a handgun, but like picked up a rifle and sighted and shot
indiscriminately
into a car.
in the vehicle. And so he was the one who was killed, and we wanted to make sure we acknowledged him because that story had just happened. And here we are again. Like Heather said, we had another video we were going to make, but we're just heartbroken. And you know what? We have this platform, so we want to use it, and we want to make sure that we touch on and talk about this gentleman, Richard Collins III. He was the young black Army soldier who was at the University of Maryland campus, and there was a white gentleman who, or a white young man who was part of a Facebook alt-right nation group, so basically a hate group, and stabbed him. So they're trying to figure out whether or not they should classify this as a hate crime.
Stabbed him and killed him instantly. Like killed another human.
Yep. And I don't know, we just spent a lot of time kind of processing and actually talking about that before we even made this video, but we wanted to make sure. I said to Heather, I'm like, this story isn't getting enough traction. Now, granted, there's another terrible story going on right now. Internationally, you obviously know what's happening in Manchester, at what happened at the Ariana Grande concert. And don't get me wrong, another situation where there's tremendous loss of life, a senseless tragedy, another senseless tragedy. But we just wanted to touch on this story. Because I did say in the Jordan Edwards video, this was going to happen again. And here we are a week or two later, and it's happened again. And it's going to continue to happen. By the time we make our next video, it will happen again, right?
And you said it makes you feel like your life is disposable.
It
happens
is.
like this, and when it happens and it doesn't get stories.
Right,
it doesn't get...
This is why people chant Black Lives Matter. This is why black people are chanting Black Lives Matter. This is why the people who chant Black Lives Matter feel like Black lives do not matter. That's why we're saying Black Lives Matter. And it's just important to make that connection, that's why that's being said. Because it's happening a lot.
And it always has happened a lot. There's just cell phones and better coverage of things that used to get buried. So when we say, why is this sudden urge of things, or why is this happening now? Because now cameras are more readily available and stories can be conjured up as quickly. I'll just share how hard it was to talk to my kids about Jordan Edwards.
Yeah, you had asked me, did I think it was a good idea to talk to them about that? And I said, absolutely. There's not a perfect time there's going to be for you to talk to them about it. You might as well start talking to them about it now. Now, you obviously don't have to go into like all the gory details, you know what I mean?
But we kept it at a really high level.
Yeah.
What it kind of said was this boy was a good boy, did everything he was supposed to do, and it just takes one heightened person, one heightened officer with a bias underneath it to change his family's trajectory forever.
I've not been able to stop thinking about that family. The image of them at what looks like a press conference, and just the looks on the family's face, like inconsolable grief, you know. Yeah, I mean, my heart goes out to them, and I don't know the right words, you know.
No, we don't have to know the words. We just have to make sure that we continue to talk about both the moving forward parts of this race conversation and the raw, deep pain of Black lives not mattering. We have to do both in order to do this conversation a service.
I deeply believe that if white people were being killed in the manner and the frequency that Black people were being killed, like, it would take that for people to pay attention. Can I say something?
Yep.
What if it was like animals, right? White people really love animals. Can I just say that? White people really love animals, you know you do. So if this was animals being killed, right? Remember how it was with Cecil the lion? Everybody was up in arms, Cecil the lion, Harambe the gorilla. Like if these were animals that were being killed at the frequency, right? Don't get mad at me, folks. You know I'm speaking the truth. Like,
there's a cognitive dissonance. And even you mentioned it the other day, even like the graphic images that we show and the way we talk about black bodies once there is a deceased, right? Like we would just never show the like sprawled out, but so much of that harkens back to our history that we don't want to talk about in America. The way that we have been conditioned to see a black body through our nation's history still has cobwebs in it today when we see police images. It's important to know how we've always viewed black bodies because parts of it carry forward into today.
Yeah, when some black and brown bodies, right?
Black and brown bodies.
So when we saw
not leaving anybody out. Yes.
Yeah. Just I don't want to see those images in the first place, but when you see those images on TV, you only see black and brown bodies looking like that. I mean, you don't need to take my word for that. All you got to do is look at past history or footage of recent footage, actually. Like look at when the Syrians were being was it gassed or whatnot, right?
Those babies.
Yeah, and they showed all those babies. How many times did you see those images? And
it creates a desensitization to us to the
like
suffering.
They're not human, right? Yeah. Subhuman, right?
Which is what the story went with in order to condone slavery. I mean, it's the same dialogue that we use to justify mass incarceration.
Yeah,
and a lack of quality education, and dare I say deportation?
You could say deportation. Yeah. People, I don't feel like people are, I mean, and that's getting a little bit off topic, but I don't feel like people are looking at people who are being deported as people. Like that, oh, that's a man with a family, you know, he has children, you know? They're not looking at it that way. Like, oh, well, he's an illegal and he needs to get out of here, is usually what's behind that, right?
Yeah. So we're feeling sad and heavy and just talking about this in the reality. We're just giving you this like 8-minute clip into the conversation we have during our golden hour every day.
Yeah.
And during our life. So we're not just going to give you the neat, wrapped up in a bow lessons and things that we're going to inspire you to. We do want to do that. But in a friendship, in an intimate relationship, there's highs and lows, and there's things that you share. Like you said yesterday, like, let's just not be the Facebook version or the Instagram version of this. Let's be all of us, right? And so this is part of the conversation too. Me struggling to understand a deeper level, you sharing how you really feel as a black woman. This is also part of our relationship.
Yep, it is. And it's important to remember too, like, my story is my story. It's not anyone else's story, right? Just like your story is your story. And we're just two friends who are doing this together, right? To hopefully, I don't know, educate, inspire, enlighten folks, right?
And connect. That's your word. We're trying to connect you with our story so you can connect with other people who look like we look.
Right. Because when we put this out there, when we put this message out there, we don't know where the message is going to land. And so I think so far it's been a really good thing, right? Kind of how it's come back to us in different ways. And Heather calls them silent watchers, people who don't comment but are watching our videos. So
that's what I was for a long time.
Yeah.
So you won't stay there long, silent watchers.
And if you're a silent watcher, it's okay.
It's okay. You come along the journey. You ask us questions, inbox us questions. We want to create a sense of vulnerability and safety, and we want to get some of those things that we are all afraid to say and talk about understood instead of mystified.
Right.
All right, we're going to cut off. Talk to you later.